Yeah, we're soul sisters. Together we gon' make sure that you know Jesus. Right now could be your breakthrough. Just come join with us. 'Cause the Spirit might just make you yell out, Lord Jesus. Right here on the Godly View.
Hello, everyone. How's it going today?
Fabulous.
How are you?
Good. It's going good. It's going good. I am so excited, so happy to be a part of the Godly View for the month of February. Oh my gosh, you guys. Can you believe that we are already in February? So let's introduce each other. Let's introduce these beautiful ladies that we have here today. I'll start with myself. I am Andrea Purry. I am the purpose pusher, pushing you into purpose with prayer and affirmations. Super excited to be a part of this amazing, illustrious people. Y'all, we got some good people tonight. We have a great show for you on tonight with the Griers. Also,
Yeah, yes. So I'll go next. My name is Jessica Rogers. I'm your neighborhood therapist. I'm from Bowling Green, Kentucky. I am a licensed therapist in the area as well. And I'm always glad to be here and glad to share with you on tonight. Tonight, we have a great show for you. Like Andrea said, we are actually going to be talking about green flags. Everybody talks about the red flags of a relationship, but tonight we are going to be talking about green flags because they are, if not the most important thing to look for in a relationship, and to carry on a good relationship with one another. Not even just in romantic relationships, but in your friendships too, right? You want to see those green flags everywhere you go. So without further ado, I would like our sister and then them as a couple, they can introduce themselves.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Persephone Sonia, aka Pastor Grier. I'm a gospel songwriter and producer. I'm host of the Sheer Truth with Persephone Sonia, as well as the Simply Self podcast. I reside in the beautiful state of Alabama with the two gentlemen that I feel like make everything beautiful. My husband, the Clifford William Grier II, as well as our beautiful 3-month-old son, Alonzo Eugene Grier, aka Gene on the scene. I am so glad to be on here with my sisters. So glad to be talking about green flags. So blessed to be able to speak from a place of experience, of experiencing the good things versus the bad things. And I thank God for this man right here. And I'm going to let him go ahead and share a little bit about himself. So,
Well, hello, everybody. As you know, my name is Clifford Greer, um, aka Mr. Tell It Like It Is.
hey,
I like to keep it real, no need in sugarcoating anything. Um, Currently, right now, I'm a grocery manager with Publix, living here with my wife and our beautiful son in Alabama. Living here, but kind of just, passing through.
yes.
We don't know where we're going to land, but as long as we're in it together, we're just going to keep it moving. Going higher and higher together.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I love that. I like you said, as long as we're in it together. Yeah.
Yes.
It's great that you can have somebody to do life with and, and have a good life with. So yeah, like we talked about tonight, we are talking about green flags of relationships, and who better to do it with than Pastor Greer and her husband. She always shows admiration for him on every show that we have about couples, and I think that's one of the amazing things, and it always blesses me for her to show that admiration, because I think just in today's culture, we get so caught up in me, but we sometimes forget about the other person and what they bring to the table. So kind of rolling into one of our first questions, what do green flags mean to you? And what was the first green flag you experienced in your courtship? That's for both of you guys.
You want to answer first, babe?
Okay. Green flags are that signal that tell you to keep moving forward, to keep going along with it. One of the biggest green flags for me early on was the fact that she wasn't afraid of answering and delving into some of the harder hitting questions early on as we were trying to get to know each other. One of the first things I told her when we met was that I'm not a good boyfriend. I said, I don't mean to be rude. I'm not trying to scare you off, but I'm not a boyfriend. I'm husband material looking for a wife. I don't have 5 years to date. If we're going to date, we need to get to know each other and get to know each other soon and now.
You just said, come on with it. I ain't
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. in our 30s already. I didn't know how old she was, but I was like, I'm getting to my mid 30s. I'm not trying to be getting married at 40, finally figuring somebody out. No. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right, but we're gonna get to know each other deep and now.
Yeah. That was a big deal for me as well. Green flags mean to me a signal that God is finally getting his way, because there have been times where I did things my way. As you all know, Cliff is my second husband. And the first time I did things my way, I was like, okay, Lord, this is what I want to do. Bless it. Instead of saying, Lord, is this what you want me to do? And if it is, bless it. There were signs that was not the right way to go. And I did those things anyway. And with Cliff, it wasn't just one thing in particular that he did or said or way that he acted. It was his overall character. And I noticed a lot of women will say it without saying it, but when you get older, character means way more than it did in the beginning, because your standards go up. They should, but sometimes it takes for us to go through a lot of bad things in order for our standards to go up. Well, with Cliff, every standard that I had, he met. And not because he was trying to get me. He wasn't rising to the occasion because he was trying to get me. He was rising to the occasion because that's who he is. And seeing, it's really important to pay attention to how someone that you're romantically interested in treats other people, not just you. Because sometimes a person will only be nice to the person they're trying to be in a relationship with, and then they treat everybody else like trash. How do they treat wait staff? How do they treat strangers? How do they treat your family? How do they treat their family? How do they, how do they carry themselves? All of those things matter. And that was a big deal for me. And when he talked about being a husband, I was like, yes, and I'm a wife, so let's do this. How he was about, because one of the major things that I had was, I'm not having sex unless I'm married. And there were other men that I had talked to in the past that were Christians, but didn't want to adhere to that standard. That was one of the most important standards. And he said from the very beginning, a real man can wait. And that allowed me to fully be able to relax and get to know him versus having my guard up, because like at any point in time he's going to try to have sex with me. So yeah, that was major.
I think that both of you guys made great points. I just kind of want to back up and talk about what Cliff said. I don't know. You care if I use either one interchangeably?
Either
okay.
one.
Okay. But he had said, like, off the bat, like, look, I ain't got time to waste and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, I was thinking just again, kind of going against today's culture.
Yeah.
Somebody would saw that as a red flag, like, oh, you're trying to push it on me. Like,
right.
Goodbye, So how do you think people, I kind of can what do you think people need to know or do to kind of discern when something really is a green flag and it's not a red flag because of the delivery?
Well, the way I delivered it works for me. So, and I always tell people when I share that story with them that that's the way I operate. That's who I am. That's how I am. It won't necessarily work for them that way. We're all trying to get to the same end goal. Just for me, it happened to work out to where we were on the same wavelength early on and weren't afraid to have deep conversations early on and then have more of the fun conversations later.
Exactly.
the culture is to just date, hit it and quit it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really taught so much to court, date,
Yeah.
cherish, marry.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's on the movies, music videos. We
Mm-hmm.
see it in our homes,
Mm-hmm.
at school, church,
Yeah.
work, of people bouncing around from partner to partner or creeping behind their other partner's back with other people.
Yes.
So it's learned to constantly date.
Yeah.
And then once I've got it out of my system, then okay, I'll settle down when I'm in my 30s. Oh,
Yep.
I'll wait until I'm in my 40s. Or, oh, you know what? Financially, it's not feasible. We're better off if we just, live together and shack up and,
Mm-hmm.
keep collecting our checks from the government because we make more money this way. It's
Mm-hmm.
better for taxes this way. So it's something that is not instilled and taught in the homes much anymore, as much as it used to be and should be.
Exactly. And Jessica, you brought up a good point that some people would see the acceleration as a red flag. And I've had that on the other side as well. So I get that, and I'm so glad you brought that up. There's a difference between applying pressure and applying purpose. Because some people apply pressure because it's almost like they're afraid of the person finding out who the real them is. Let me lock this down before they figure out who I really am. But applying purpose is saying, listen, this is who I am. This is who you are. We have the same goals. We have the same aspirations. Let's do this together. It's more like an invitation. Come live this life with me. We both have the same things that we want to do in life, and we have a mutual understanding of what it takes to do those things. Let's do this together. It's more of an invitation. So there is a very big difference between applying pressure and applying purpose.
And that was the biggest thing, is applying the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much pressure for us to date, pressure for us to get married sooner.
Right.
It's just going to be purposeful and meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Intentional.
Yes,
Yes,
very
intentional.
intentional. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think it's good that you guys both had the same mindset. That's a green flag for me.
Yes.
But if we're both coming in with the same, like we're thinking the same, we're on the same wavelength, then that to me is a green flag. And that shows some type of compatibility between you and being able to like even go further. And I think one thing that I love about even your courtship to your marriage and to your parenthood, what is one thing that you can say that you like, okay, this was a green flag. I see her as a great mother, or I see him as a great father.
That's deep, because there's a lot that goes into that answer as far as green flags that we saw in each other as far as being great parents. Even well before Alonzo was born, just talking about children, and knowing how we wanted to raise them, what kind of man or woman we were going to raise our children to be, was a huge green flag, and that we both agreed on so much of what we wanted for them, as far as being raised in the church, to know and love and to fear God. Being raised by both of us equally, even though, yes, I spend a lot of time at work, but when I'm here, I'm here.
Yes.
When she's here, she's here. We're doing it together at the same time. What we want for them to be able to experience and to do, wanting more for them than we had. Just like our parents wanted more for us, we want more for our children too. So both of us being on the same wavelength, as far as, okay, we're going to strive to do this, and that for him, or at least set him up to succeed in this area. Whether he chooses to pursue it or not, at least he'll have that opportunity to do it. We're not going to necessarily force everything on him, but we want those doors of opportunity open for him to walk through.
Yeah.
Open more doors for him than we're open for us.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll speak to the other side of that because my grandma always told me, she's like, it matters who you have kids with.
That
And I
part.
didn't understand that till I had mine.
Yes, yes.
So I mean, the way you guys have done it, that's how I would have liked to done it and how I saw it in my head. But of
Yes.
course, again, like when you are living how culture tells you to live,
Yes.
then you have to take care of responsibilities, whether you are wanted it that way or not.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And because even when you are trying to co-parent, if that person has a different idea of how to parent or what they want for that child, you're
Yeah.
always going to be at conflict. And so
Yeah.
it is hard to come to a conclusion
Mm-hmm.
about even what you want for the child because
Right.
yeah, so that's my stance on the other side of that coin. So
Yes.
you're getting two sides for that one.
Oh, yes.
But-
Yeah, it's very important to pay attention to, because I went into our relationship not just looking for and seeing if Cliff was going to be a good husband. I was looking at, is this man going to be a good father as
Right.
well? So, because I wouldn't want a man to treat me well, but not be present for the children. They
Right.
give me everything I want, but be like, okay, well, and because there are men that are like, I'll provide, I'll pay the bills, but you care for the children. Don't ask me anything about the children. I'm not coming to the school. I'm not dropping anybody off. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But I wanted a man that was going to be a present, loving, faithful husband and a present, loving, caring, supportive father.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had those things in Cliff by like you said, the conversations that we had. We talked about, okay, how are we going to raise these children? What are we going to raise them to believe? What are we going to raise them to, how are we going to raise them to treat other people? And
Yeah.
all of those things lined up with the dreams and the hopes that I had for these future children that, they lived in my mind and in my heart because they weren't yet here on earth. So I really paid attention to the things that he said and really paid attention. And here's pay attention.
Mhm.
Pay attention.
Okay, write it down.
Pay attention. Okay? It's
Sure.
not about what you want to see.
Yeah.
It's about what it is.
What you actually
The
saying.
good and the bad. Pay attention.
Pay attention.
And then once you see the good, don't run from it.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's the real point, right? That's the
Hello,
real
when you
point. 'Cause
see
we
the
get used
good, don't run from it. Because I tried.
We need
I
Jack
tried.
on the screen.
Yeah, I tried. Because
Yeah.
I was looking at, within the first couple weeks of meeting Cliff, I was like, God, I want him. I want him. Lord, please, Jesus. Please, Lord. Please. Because it was like he was checking off all the boxes that I had. And it wasn't like I didn't make him jump through any hoops or anything. I was paying attention to what he was showing me.
Yes.
I was with my little mental clipboard checking the things that he was showing me. I hate when people say they test people.
Mm.
Oh, I was just testing to see how she was going to act. I was just testing to see what he was going to. There was none of that. We didn't have to test each other.
I think that's culture too. That's culture.
It's
Yes,
manipulation.
it is.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm going to tell him I'm not going to have sex with him unless he marries me and see how he reacts. And based off of his reaction, that will determine whether or not we continue to talk in this way. I'm letting him know that I'm getting ready to be ordained as a pastor. If he does not agree that women should be able to be pastors or that women should be able to be teachers, then that's somebody I can't, because I already knew there were certain things that God was setting me up for. So you don't have to test if you listen to the Holy Spirit. You try. There's a difference between testing somebody and then trying things by the Spirit.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to be doing. Trying things by the Spirit is the Christian way. Testing people and trying to see if you could push somebody over the edge to kind of see, who they are, that's the world's way.
Right.
And there's so many things that it's like, yeah, you take what the Word of God says, you take what the Holy Spirit says, and it's warped and twisted into the world's way. So I didn't have to test him. I didn't have to try to manipulate him or, twist his words and do all that. No, all I had to do was listen to the Holy Spirit and listen to what he said and pay attention to what he did. That's what it took.
Did you?
I mean, I know we're kind of past it, but I like what you said about just kind of, the father point. Like it is, it's not about just the man paying for everything and paying all the bills and not being there.
Yes.
It is important to be present in both. And I think sometimes we got to remember that too. It's good that he pays the bills, but even the women, it's good that you pay the bills, but if you're not present, like sometimes presence over presence.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And one more note about Cliff as a father. I just have to brag about my husband real quick. Excuse me.
Go ahead and brag.
The pregnancy towards the end was difficult, and I ended up having Alonzo a few weeks early. Thankfully, he was born healthy. I had to have an emergency C-section. And Cliff did about 90% of his care for the first, 3 weeks, month of his life. All I had to focus on was healing and pumping milk, healing and bonding with our child. And I was so, so grateful to him. He didn't do it because society told him to. He did it because that's who he is. He took such great care of me when I was pregnant. And just seeing him with Alonzo, I would have 38 of your babies. I would. Because like the way that he cared for us.
We're not buying no bus.
No.
We're not buying a
Two
bus.
and that's it. But I'm so grateful for the fact that his father is a caretaker, because he told me, he said the Grier we're caretakers. He said my father is that way. We take care of our women, we take care of our children. That's what we do. Both of his grandfathers were like that. And a legacy of manhood is what Alonzo was born into.
Wow.
A legacy of caretaking, a legacy of prioritizing your family, a legacy of deeply loving and caring for your wives, a legacy of being loving and supportive towards your children. And it's not about perfection. It's about persistence. And always striving to be better. And the way Alonzo looks at his father, everything that I went through was worth it. To be able to see this baby look up at his father with just pure admiration. And he looks at him like he hung the moon. And that is what I prayed for. Alonzo had everything that I would have wanted to have before he was even born. His father was anticipating his birth. And he stayed there with me at the hospital. I was in the hospital for 5 days, and he was there with us. And it was just a beautiful thing. And I just want to publicly thank you once again for loving us and for being that man. And for being an example to other men of how to take care of your wife and how to take care of your children. It's just, I can't thank you enough. I'm so blessed to have you as my husband, and Alonzo has the best father in the world. I love you so much. And I'm just, grateful.
Yes. You know what? The public display of love and public display of honor is so beautiful. And I believe that's also a green flag. Because you have always just gave him so many accolades and so much praise and so much admiration. And I love that. I love words of affirmation. So that's my thing.
That's
for
a big
me.
thing for him too.
This wasn't a question that I had wrote down, but because we're talking about, to me, kind of like going into love languages, could that be a green flag? Like, knowing the love language and being able to do the love language?
Yeah, because we actually did the one of those tests. What is your love language test? To see where we both line up on that, as far as what do we value more, look for more for ourselves, so that both of us can know what the other one is needing more of.
Wow.
So it's important to, one, know yourself, and two, know your partner, know your spouse. Because how can you truly provide for them if you don't even know what they're looking for?
That is true.
There's so many different levels of providing for somebody, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, so exactly what is this person looking for? Because I'm one of those men, you need to tell it to me like it is. I don't do beating around the bush. I don't do hints. You can give me a hint all day long, and it's going to go right over my head, or I'm just going to let it fly by because you went direct with me.
Right.
I'm the same person.
I will purposely let you continue to hint until you come out with it.
Yeah.
And then once you finally come out with it, I'm going to say, was that so hard?
Exactly.
Just let me know, please.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to be mad.
Just let me know what's going on.
Yeah. And that was something that he helped me with, because I was one of those people where it's like, I'll do it myself. I'll just do it myself. And it's like, no, you have a partner, and you have a willing partner.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. A willing partner.
That one
Oh yeah, that was important, because both of our dominant love and the thing about love languages, it doesn't mean that it's just what is the most important to that person, but there are other things that person can enjoy and benefit from. But our dominant love language, both of ours happen to be physical touch. And I was like, oh. And then his second one is words of affirmation. And my second one was quality time.
Okay.
So while he's getting his words of affirmation, I'm getting my quality time. While I'm getting my quality time, he's getting his words of affirmation, and we're touching.
Right. Yeah.
But having a willing partner, even going into, and we're gonna talk about it, the fear that people have when they talk about they're gonna wait to have sex before they get married. There's always this talk of, well, what if they don't give me what I want? And what if I can't? First of all, be a grown-up and talk about it. We had those conversations, and they weren't strictly clinical. They were like, okay, this is what I like. This is what I would like to try. These are the things I absolutely won't do. These are things I want, And then also having a willing partner that's willing to be patient, that's willing to figure you out.
Yeah.
And that is evident in the courting stage, whether that's good or not, whether that's something that they can do or not. So you don't have to have sex with somebody to know if they would be a willing partner, if they would be a willing, loving participant in what you do. You don't have to test drive these vehicles before you buy them. Okay.
Right.
So, well, I'm afraid there was no, because my first go around was not what I thought it would be or wanted it to be. And instead of using that as an excuse to clam up and not say anything about it, I use that as a catalyst for change. To say, okay, listen, this is because I had a conversation with the Lord about it. Me and the Lord sat down and talked about it. The Lord was like, I heard you the first time. You gonna talk to me about it again? Okay. But I talked to him. I was like, listen, sir, whomever you send my way, the one that's your choice for me, that part needs to be what it needs to be for it to be what I need it to be. Okay. And the Lord was like, I heard you the first time. The Lord gave me what I prayed for.
Okay.
So there are some of you out there. You're like, listen, I'm saved. I'm filled with the Holy Ghost. I love Jesus with all of my heart. I serve in ministry. I have been through so much. The Lord has brought me through so much. And I want to do right by the person that I marry. I don't want to touch them until they're my husband or until they're my wife. But I'm scared. I don't want to marry somebody and have a bad sex life. I don't want to marry somebody and feel like I'm unfulfilled. I don't want to marry somebody and feel like I'm a prostitute and like they only want me when they want me, and then they put me on the shelf when they don't want me, and I don't get anything in between. Talk to the Lord.
I was gonna say, because he don't want you to have that either.
Hello. The Lord was like, y'all go, yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave now, but go do it, like God is pleased. He is. With the fact that you are with a willing partner and you did it God's way.
That's right.
Joy out of that.
He gets joy.
And I just, because I feel it. I feel y'all out there. Some of y'all out there like, listen, Persephone.
That's what they really want to know about.
Pastor Grier, listen. Now, you talking all this, wait. and don't. But what about when we do what we need to do? We do everything the way the Lord wants us to do it, and then we get into situations like, listen, there are signs.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
If this person does not care for you and make you feel safe outside of the bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to change once the door closes.
Right.
If you don't feel comfortable around this person outside of the bedroom, if you don't feel heard and
Right.
valued and cherished outside of the bedroom, baby,
Mhm.
that's not going to change when the door closes.
That's right.
We need to pay attention. Pay attention. It'll benefit you. So
Yeah.
I had to say that because I anytime we talk about waiting, anytime we talk about doing things God's way, the enemy always tries to come in and say, "But what if you?" No, doing it God's way.
Amen. Amen. So I have a question. So, Brother Cliff said something. He said you have to know yourself.
Mhm.
And I want to know, what did you know about yourself that was a green flag before you started dating?
Before I started dating, one of the things that I knew for sure about me is that I know what I want and I know what I'm looking for. Being sure of what it is that I'm looking for. This is one of those things to where it is not an air of, ego or anything like that. It was confidence in knowing who I am, what I need, and what I can offer and what I provide.
Yes.
A lot of us, especially Black men in particular, have this super inflated or superficial view of what it is to be a real man. And we're told constantly by the world, by society, that you need to go off and be a high paid athlete. You need to be the school jock. You need to be the highest paid neurosurgeon at Duke or John Hopkins University. If you're not the best, then what are you? Your first place, your first place for last place.
Right.
So knowing that I'm not going to be the best at all these areas, but what I am is a provider and I can give you all of what I do have to offer was one of the biggest green flags that I could offer to another woman. That's why when I met Persephone, I told her a lot of the things that might be red flags to a lot of other people, but outside of those, here's what I bring to the table though. Here's what I offer. Being able to expose myself so much so to where she could really see who I was early on rather than just finding out later on because of me hiding it.
Exactly.
Me hiding the real truth of who I am.
Yes.
So being able to tell her that, yes, I spend a lot of time doing this. I might spend a lot of time doing that. I like doing this stuff like this too. I like my me time. But when it comes to us time and us spending time together, I'm all in.
Yeah.
When it comes to providing, I'm gonna make a way. We're gonna make it happen.
Yes.
When it comes to decision making, I've got all these ideas, but what do you want to do too?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be all just me.
Right.
I'm comfortable enough of letting you make a decision too.
Yes.
And letting it be our decision.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of us are told, oh, you're the man of the house. You say what goes on in that house. We're married. We're partners. We say what goes on. And being comfortable enough to allow people to know that, letting other people know, it's like, it's not just you. You don't do it all by yourself.
Exactly.
You're not going to be the one running that marriage by yourself. You don't run that household by yourself.
Right.
You're not going to run that. You're not going to raise that child by yourself.
Right.
It has to be you. You have to be vulnerable enough and strong enough to admit, I am not strong enough to do it all by myself.
Right.
I need your help. I want your help. I value your help and your input. So being able to be emotionally exposed like that was a huge green flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something I could offer. Emotionally exposed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because it helps the relationship when both people can be naked emotionally.
Come on, get naked.
You know, yes, yes. You know, and we always reiterate when we talk about our early courtship. We had the difficult conversations up front. We had the deep conversations up front. I told him about my health problems and everything up front. That was not something I wanted to or could hide from him.
Right.
You know, if I overdid it, you know, at the grocery store and was out doing errands and he came to see me and I'm limping around the house, obviously I can't hide that from him. So him being emotionally naked with me helped me feel comfortable being emotionally naked and vice versa. We were committed to being committed. Some people want to be committed, but they're not committed to being committed.
Yeah.
They want to do it, but they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's like there's multiple layers to it. You can't just, that's not something you just wake up one day and say you want to be married. You can't just wake up one day and say, I want to be a parent. There is work that goes into it. It's work. We always say it's work, but it's worth it. Being married is work, but it's worth it. And it just because we say it's work, that doesn't mean we don't have any fun. We have plenty of fun.
Yeah.
He married a woman that has dad jokes. How did I get the dad jokes? You know, like we have fun. We make each other laugh. You know, because Cliff's job is so demanding of him being super hyper focused and serious. I strive to be silly and ridiculous and make him laugh. You know, and yes.
Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I want something that before you started dating.
Yeah, before we started dating,
when you were single.
Yes, my ability to be able to not go with the flow, but go with the function of whatever was going on. And I always joke about the fact that I was a foster kid, so I can like get up and move in the middle of the night if I have to. Like I can just pick up and go and just be at home wherever I am because of the fact that, you know, we plan on moving several times throughout our marriage. That was something that he asked me about early on. That was one of those difficult conversations of, okay, is this something you would be willing to do? Because if not, then we're going to have to, you know, not be having these conversations anymore. We're going to have to just move on.
Yeah.
The ability to make myself at home anywhere, the ability to be comfortable wherever I am. Now, mind you, there were some moments where I was still kind of high strung about certain things, but that was a trauma response. That was something that I had to recognize. That was something that I had to be like, okay, this is why I feel this way. Not because it can't be done, but because it's never been done before by me.
Yeah.
So my ability to be able to say, okay, I haven't done this before, but I'm willing to try. I haven't been in this position before, but I'm willing to make the best of it. I think that is something that is the making of a good wife. I studied Proverbs 31. You know, that was always the ambition that I had, to be a Proverbs 31 woman. And not necessarily following it to the letter of being legalistic, but learning how to apply those things to my life. Because I think that's why some women are afraid of the Proverbs 31 woman, because they're like, well, I want to work outside the home and I want to be a boss and I want to do this and I want to. It's like, ma'am, we're talking about the spirit of the Proverbs 31 woman. Okay? You don't have to be legalistic about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. Jessica, you want to ask another question?
Yeah. So we kind of went over, let's see. So what advice can you give from your experiences to someone searching for green flags?
That's a good one. You want me to go? Do you want to go?
I think the best advice for somebody looking for green flags, don't look too hard for them. If you go, it's like looking for trouble. You go looking for trouble, you're going to find it. you go looking for green flags, that's all you're going to focus on is, I'm looking for these distinct things, focus, and only those things. I'm looking for this one thing and only that one thing, but you're going to miss out on everything else that they're offering to you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that green flag is hidden. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they haven't opened it up to you enough yet.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't focus solely on strictly green flags, because
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be red flags in
Yeah.
any and everything.
Mm-hmm.
One of my red flags, especially when I was younger, and it was still in the back of my mind as I was courting Persephone, is that not only was I looking for somebody on the same emotional and mental wavelength as I was, but somebody on the same financial wavelength as I was.
Mm-hmm.
And if I would have let the red flag of, oh, she doesn't work, if I would have let that one red flag stop me,
Yeah.
I'd have missed all the other green flags. All these other green flags waving me, no, go on, go on. No,
Yeah.
keep coming. No, that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, can't do it. Not doing it. No,
That
thank
was
you.
like a flexible red flag for you.
Yeah,
That was
flexible.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of those red flags that, in my mind, I had put up as a high red flag
Mm-hmm.
for when I was younger.
Yeah.
Just because, looking at the news every day and the state of the economy and the way the world is going,
Yes.
in my mind, I didn't want to be the sole provider.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That worked for our grandparents and our great grandparents.
Yes.
When eggs used to be free because you went back to the backyard getting out of the chicken coop.
Right. We're talking about $8.95 now.
Exactly.
Like,
Now it's like, great, I got to spend half my paycheck to buy breakfast.
right. So it sounds like for you, again, that goes back to the kind of like knowing yourself and saying, but when you were younger, that kind of anxiety rose when you were like, I got to take care of everything. Like, what?
Yes.
Like, I ain't got no money. Like, what are we doing? So I think that it's that showed kind of like in your maturity of learning yourself that okay, it might be a red flag, but it's a flexible.
It's something that it's flexible. It's something that can turn into a yellow, and then okay, it's not even a flag at all. Let's just move on and focus on all the other good.
It could turn into a yellow flag. I like that. I like that.
Exactly. I'm so glad he brought that up.
And Persephone, even she used to say, "I wish I would have met you when I was younger." And I tell her all the time, "No, you don't."
Right. It's got to be real. Like we know.
No, you don't. You didn't want me when I was younger because I didn't know what I wanted when I was younger.
Yes.
I wasn't as mature when I was younger. I tell her all the time stories of when I lived in Tallahassee. Lived there for 5 years, going to college and partying all the time. She's like, "Oh, well, if I'd have met you when I was younger, maybe we could have got together when I was younger." I said, "No, we wouldn't have." No,
all the way down. Like, no,
we wouldn't have.
Exactly.
I said I was too busy partying and doing everything I could to stop myself from dating because I was too busy just being me.
Yeah.
I wasn't focused on finding an us or a we.
Yeah.
I was so focused on just doing what I wanted to do that I wasn't listening to the advice of my parents, my grandparents. I wasn't open to what God was trying to tell me.
Wow.
It was so much, all right, off work, let me go get bandit. Time to hit the bar. Time to go to the club. Time to go hang out. Time to have fun. It was all fun. It wasn't about settling down and being serious.
Yeah. And can we agree, like everybody kind of goes through that stage. And I think that's important to realize that it's okay that if you are going through that stage, but like you said, you have to like be ready for that us and we. Like don't try to fake the funk. Like that's where I'm at in life too. And I'm still doing all this other stuff because I think that's a kind of a like that what is the word that I'm looking for? That double coin of double sided was it not parallel, but the help me out here, guys. The paradox.
The paradox of your life.
For being single, it's like we want to be young and single, doing all these extra things, but then we want this relationship. We want the marriage. So it's like that paradox of relationship and being young. So if you're gonna be young, just be young. Have your moment, and then come back to we.
Yes, and to add to what Cliff said, I love the fact that he brought up that point because when we were in our premarital counseling, Bishop Bird did our premarital counseling, and he told Cliff, he said, Persephone really is saying, what man would want me? Because he knew of the struggles that I had financially. He knew the struggles I had with my health. And even though I had great confidence that I could love a man the way he needed to be loved, that I could love and care for a husband the way that God wanted me to, in the back of my mind, I was still thinking, with the health problems that I have, being in pain all the time, the fatigue, all those different things. And later on, the fertility issues, I kind of was like, why do I even want this? What man would want me? And when you're looking for those green flags, make sure that those green flags are not ignored because you don't think you deserve anybody.
And remember that you're worthy.
Yes.
No matter if you have a disability, no matter if you have a dysfunction, no matter whatever you have, you're worthy to be loved and to give love.
Exactly.
A lot of times when we have those type of things, we forget I'm worthy to receive and to give.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It got to be something that we can stress to Christian women, their worthiness.
Yes.
It's something that I have been praying about. And when you was talking, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to say this. But after being single for a long period of time, the enemy tries to taunt you with your worthiness.
Oh, yeah.
Have these devices to even begin to have these self-defeating thoughts and all of these things that you think terribly about yourself.
Yep.
I command right now today that we will come against those things for Christian women, and we will begin to think like God thinks about us. We will see ourselves like God sees us. We'll know that we are in the image of Him. And if we are in His image, we're worthy of love and we're worthy to give love.
That part. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah. That's why I tell my daughter, I said, that's the most powerful thing you'll ever carry is knowing what your worth is.
Ooh, yes.
You know that you'll be less apt to accept even not even relationships, but just in life in general, in your job and things like that.
Yes.
So that is true. I agree.
Comments?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said, did they want to have any closing comments? Our producer here.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to add this too real quick. Another green flag is listening to the advice of people who care and love you, care for you and love you, and are only there for your good, your benefit. Too many times we have people in our ears on both sides telling us what we should do, how we should do it, when we should do it, why we should do it. But a lot of those voices and a lot of those people in our ears, they're not there for your ultimate good. They don't care about your emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being, your physical well-being. That might just be one of the boys you grew up with who himself is, pardon my French, a hoe.
Right.
He's out there running the streets and he's doing his own thing and he's living what he thinks is the good life and thinks that, oh man, you ain't ready for this and you ain't ready for that. You should be doing this, that, and the other instead. Even some of our parents, there's parents out there who, for one reason or another, hate whoever their son brings home or whoever their daughter brings home, and they don't even know the person.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if that person has a history of always domineering and dominating your life, they're not going to be telling you what's best for you and trying to steer you in the right direction. They're doing it because they're so used to controlling you. So you have to be listening to people who are there for your ultimate good and benefit, who are there to support you and guide you, not just drive you into the wall. Because my parents, when I brought Persephone to meet them, my dad took me to the side and said, you know what? If you two go ahead and get hitched, we wouldn't be mad at you. I wasn't there for all the but from the conversation they had, y'all went ahead and got hitched. We wouldn't even be mad at you because
Awesome.
That's a good woman right there.
All right.
And shout out to mom and dad. They're actually here. They have Alonzo in the living room. So shout
Oh,
out to mom and dad.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, that
But
is.
I know I can listen to my parents because they're there for my ultimate good.
exactly.
Whereas I got people I grew up with who, not for nothing, if I see them walking down the street, I'm turning around and going the other way.
Yeah.
We were acquaintances
Mhm.
because we were in the same class. But as far as being my friend and wanting what's best for me, you don't know me like that.
Mm-mm.
Right.
You
Right.
just on the outside looking in, you think I'm gonna want what you want because that's what you grew up doing. No.
Right.
No,
Hmm.
these are the people who love me. I'm going to talk to these people about this. I'm going to talk to my pastor about this.
Yes.
I'm talk to my brothers about this, my
Yes.
aunts about this. People who grew up with me and nourished me and nurtured me,
Mhm.
good
guided
support.
me in the right direction. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's important. And one point I want to leave you all with: Cliff is many things to me. He's my husband. He's my homie, lover, friend. He's the father of my child. But the thing that will never ever change for the to the end of time is that he's my brother in Christ.
That's
Mm.
right.
And I went into our relationship seeing him as, yes, is this someone I want to be in a relationship with? This is someone I can see a future with. But he is my brother in Christ above anything. And I
Mhm.
have to always remember that before he was my husband, he belonged to the Lord and he still belongs to the Lord. I don't own him. I don't my job is to nurture him and to love him and to submit to the plans that we have for our household, and for him to be the head of the household. And like you said, we make decisions together.
Yeah.
But if you always go into these situations only thinking of, is this person going to be my husband? Is this person going to be my wife? And you don't see them as your brother or sister in Christ, you're
Mhm.
doing them a disservice.
Mm.
So, and and people don't want to talk about the fact that when we get to heaven, your husband and your wife is not going to be your husband or your wife.
Right.
So treat them the way you need to treat them while you're here.
Right.
Because y'all ain't gonna be no bumping and grinding in heaven.
Yeah.
So you better treat them right while you're here.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah,
Right.
that's something to think about. I don't think you ever hear people say that, and remind you of that. So yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good food for thought.
Yeah.
Well,
Amen.
we appreciate you guys so much for coming on and dropping all the gems. I always say I can't wait to go back and watch it again, because I think like when you rewatch it, you grab more.
Yeah.
So we want to say thank you to our podcast audience, thank you to our Facebook Live audience and our YouTube audience. We are so excited to be here with the Godly View, and we're gonna pass it over to our producer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, he left.
Well, okay, there you go.
We
Still
can't.
muted, bro.
We can't hear you. Okay.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, now we hear you.
Okay, my bad. Once again, you all, another amazing episode. I always say, as far as married couples, these are one of the ones that I look up to. They are amazing in so many ways. I know that I could call either one of them for advice on anything, and they are going to give me that straight, no chaser, godly advice, and I appreciate that. They have made me a better man to this day to prepare me for where I'm at right now, and I appreciate them. I cannot wait to go back, as Andrea said, and listen to this on podcast and just listen to it again, just to get more from it. And next episode that we have will be with our favorite engaged couple right here. We cannot wait to interview them. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh man, like for real, like we can't wait to interview
That's
them.
gonna be dope.
Like they always bring so much fire and so much excitement to it, and I cannot wait till that episode. And you all stay with us, stay grinding with us, stay listening to the podcast. We appreciate you all, and we're going to continue to keep grinding and keep making the show better. If you would like to email us any questions, you can email us at thegodlyview1@gmail.com. Once again, that's thegodlyview1@gmail.com. And we always love you all. We appreciate you all. And to close it out, we're just going to let y'all read our mission statement right there so that you all know what the Godly View really stands for. So, God bless y'all. As I always say, I will see y'all next week on our next episode. Next Saturday, please stay tuned. We will be rerunning an old episode with our favorite engaged couple next week, and we can't wait for that. That will air at 5 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, 6 o'clock Eastern. And as I always say, sometimes our disappointments are nothing more than God's appointments, meaning some things that we
Your mic went out.
Yeah, we're soul sisters